All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for its local search and for its city search if it is they got BSS, yes or no for either or both of them. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that pinned video, pinned post, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph down below here in white. Got our highest intent peeps. Over on the left is a peep searching for, boudoir photo shoot in my city, and they're searching that today, things like that. And so people the easiest convert, closest to the money, and we make a video. The videos we make are about BSS, kind of first getting found by these peeps. And over on the right, we got our lowest intent peeps. So we talk about over with our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, and right now we're currently only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means we're dying pretty fast because that means we're on page 2 or deeper if we got 0 slots page 1. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 and done searches. And that means we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market if we're on page 2 or deeper. And that means our business will be down pretty fast. Also, 1 slot on page 1, that ain't good enough anymore because every other boudoir photographer on page 1 is basically going to have 1 slot. And there's 10 organic slots. So if we got 1, there's going to be 9 other boudoir photographers there. We're not sending it out. We're not looking special. We're not looking differentiated. And as a result, boudoir photographers actually, or boudoir buyers, they're just going to click to all 10 people's website, opens everyone's website, submit a contact form for everyone, get a quote from everyone. And as a result, everyone's going to get price shopped, compared to death, price shopped to death. We have no pricing leverage, pricing power, just because there's so many options. And this is what approximately 80% of buyers do. The other, they're just page 1 only. So, we really only got to worry about the peeps on page 1 for approximately 80% of buyers. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. So it's not normal to have such a small number of slots page 1 Google search as a boudoir photography business owner. It's common, it's accepted, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Now, with market saturation, what actually happens is the kind of over time, more boudoir photographers enter the market. Normally it's because people upgrade their gear, they get a new iPhone, an awesome camera, or new camera itself. They just decide I'm going to throw up a Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir now, or they get a website created, say they're now a boudoir photographer, or they're posting the mom groups on Facebook saying they now for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more boudoir photographers in the market competing for the same number of buyers, and as a result, we actually run out. We basically kind of get out competed. It's just harder for every other boudoir photographer that's in the market. Now, there's 2 deeper root causes. First one, market saturation. Yeah, I did that. But the most important one is this new one, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this is something boudoir photographers kind of auto-accepted, haven't really thought about. But many have felt that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slot page 1 on Google. And as a result, maybe their website was, page 1 slot 7. And some new boudoir photographers entered the market. And then their link, their boudoir photographer basically link got pushed down to page 2 slot 2. So they're saying they're like, man, I help those people delete their websites and Google brings me back up onto page 1. But this is 100% the wrong mentality. Google actually allow us and wants us to take as many page 1 slots on Google as possible as we're willing to put in the effort to take and acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So I know Google literally will give us as many slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire, which means the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So when you only got 0 1 slots page 1 Google, disappearing boudoir photographer, because if we got 0 slots page 1, We're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got one slot page 1, we're still basically invisible because we got one slot, same as the other 9 competitors on the page. So yeah, we're getting form fills, but probably 10% or less of those are converting. And this is kind of the disappearing boudoir photographers, kind of the warning sign, the warning symbol, the canary in the coal mine, saying that now our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to, is actually on the path to disappearing. But thankfully, we have discovered a solution. We discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up there in as many placements as possible. And this is kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America. The snow on the east side, the backside of those mountains. So what happens to that snow is it melts into small streams, flows into small streams and then small rivers, and eventually all the melted snow collects into the large Amazon River. And that large Amazon River, that's page 1 of Google search. So we gotta get the snow up top first, top of the mountain, so it can melt and come down, and that is S-cube methodology, is getting that snow up there. Everything flows from S-cube methodology. And what's interesting is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can enable boudoir photography business to still have a chance to grow, even in a ever saturating, boudoir photography marketplace in a relatively quick, and give that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution that gives that same benefit of enabling business to grow in a saturated marketplace that I've seen that is as strong as S-cube methodologies is having a large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 8, for like 5 to 10 years. That is, that's way longer than our, S-cube methodology to kind of get that power to grow. And dude, we ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore. No, dude, AI is here. We do not have 5 to 10 years to wait anymore. We need to be building momentum now. And interesting, one of my estimates is that using S-cube methodology, my estimate is it'll actually enable boudoir photographers to, basically acquire and have a large, well-known brand in their area, approximately 8x faster than normal methods. It's because, we're being seen way more, higher volume, higher frequency, and more surfaces, more touch points. And so that's kind of my own estimate. And an example here, S-cube methodology, we are going to LA. Let's say we're in LA and there are 1 million boudoir photographers there. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they shoot boudoir. And so, over a million websites trying to rank page 1 Google search, ultra competitive. And we ain't got no large, well-known brand. So we've decided, man, our only hope here is S-cubed methodology. So we fire it up and we crank it to the max. So let's say we crank it to the max and we take literally the first 300 slots across all the social searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And then we also take the, let's say those flow onto Google search at a, and we take the first 300 slots Google search. Well, 10 Google slots per page. So we're taking out literally the first 30 pages on Google. And so when a boudoir buyer searches for anything related to, high intent with boudoir in our city, we're basically the only one that comes up when they search on social, when they search on Google. So if, they got to go to slot basically 301 to find any of our competitors. So if that's the case, what is the, whose business will most likely be growing in this situation? Probably ours, utilizing S-cube methodology. Whose businesses will likely be failing? Slowing down, disappearing, failing, going invisible. Most likely the other 999,999 other boudoir photography competitors in our city, because we're basically the only one buyers can find. So this is kind of a, kind of the most extreme example of what S-cube methodology could enable for a boudoir photography business. Now, once you're with S-cube methodology, we now have page 1 visibility, P1V. And yeah, initial benefit, we get more slots page 1 on Google, cool. And every new slot we get page 1 on Google, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. And when we make them invisible, they're page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. That means we can basically control, through our effort, how many of our competitors would kick off, make them disappearing boudoir photographers, and make their boudoir photography business, be on the path to disappearing. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually like this initial benefit. And page 1 visibility actually is boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe recommends having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search. Because when we have these, Basically everyone else can have one slot, all the other competitors. So we're going to be dominating them with our 3 slots. And the ultra rare scenario where someone has 2 slots, well, we got 3 slots, we're still dominating them. So allows us to dominate in basically all scenarios. And finally, we know that Boudoir photographer with BSV, Boudoir search visibility, is a visible Boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got a micro universe here. A disappearing Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. We now have the solution, S cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results utilizing S cubed methodology. So I wanted to dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS Boudoir. So I strictly use S cubed methodology. That's my results. Got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I actually I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search in only 10 days, purely by utilizing S cubed methodology. All right, now to our main event here, we're going to check this boudoir photography business, see if it has BSS, see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search for local Washington, D.C., well, technically that's city, and then region. All right, so the DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. All right, so region should actually be way more competitive than what we've normally seen. All right, let's go to DC. All right, so let's see what we got. All right, we got 0 out of 10 here for city search. Let's go to DMV area. All right, so we got 0 out of 10 for both. So we got BSS for both the city search and the regional search, and we got we're not hitting the recommended GBC yet. GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search for either of these searches as well. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got boudoir search sameness, you search locally and do a local search and a city search for the high intent keywords. And you got boudoir search sameness. And you've realized now that page one equality is a false belief. And now we have a methodology to take as many page one slots as we want, depending on how much effort we want to put in. And we actually we see the market saturation, and we see what AI is doing to people's jobs. And as a result, we know that as AI takes more and more people's jobs, the amount of boudoir photographers over time is actually going to increase. Because what happened during COVID? Lots of people lost their jobs, put themselves out there as boudoir photographers, got the website, got the Facebook page, got the Google My Business profile, like a whole big, deluge of boudoir photographers entered the market, pushing a ton of people off page one that have been there for a while. And so you're saying, okay, AI is going to take more people's jobs. It's going to have way more boudoir photographers entering the market. We need to position ourselves, defend our territory, and actually get more territory on page one of Google. So when these boudoir photographers come in, they don't affect our business at all because we'll have so much coverage on page one. They'll be forced to be on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page 2. They stay right on page 1. So we'll be hitting the bulk of the searchers, and we'll actually be pushing off our current competitors off page 1 as well. And so you're seeing at 3, the SQ'd methodology is the only way to get you there. And you also see kind of the back-end bonuses of using it, we haven't even talked about yet, which are, when we're ranked for these high intent keywords across all social search, and then that pulls into Google search, it creates like thematic keyword pillars of our brand, our name, our account names, our brand, our website, and it increases the probability. We show up here for AI overview for local and city search, increases that probability. It increased the probability we show up for AI search in all AI search positions or apps like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Gemini search. Kind of, it's a back end benefit because we're having these thematic keyword pillars all around our brand. Where, last time I used ChatGPT search, asking about boudoir photographers in the city, dude, it brought up 3. That was it. And so, kind of back end benefits is we're future proofing the business because more and more people are going to be using AI search and basically kind of dominating social search, flows through to dominating page 1 Google search, which is kind of the canary in the coal mine. If we're increasing the probability, we're ranking on AI search, which would, there's no back end number of how close we are to ranking on it, but all these things that we're doing increases that probability. So we're kind of hitting like 5 different birds with one stone. And also you're noticing that if someone else in your city hops on this first and gets this momentum to all these benefits first, then, well, one, I cannot work with you because current plan is only work with one person per city. And 2, you have to figure out how to do this SQ'd methodology yourself and all the time to implement it. And you don't even know if you're doing it correctly. So we have our own proprietary methodology. And you'd have to equal our output to maintain against us if we're already working with someone else in the same city. And you'd have to exceed our output to actually make progress on us and all the momentum we would have already made with another boudoir photographer in your current city, to kind of get these thematic keyword pillars attached to our brand. So it's kind of just this big, massive momentum builder for whoever's the first mover boudoir photographer in their city. And we got our final 6 questions here as always. If basically how many slots you think could actually get on page 1 of Google. Remember, this is downstream of already in the top ranked page 1 of social search on all the social search engines. And how many more boudoir clients could that bring for the lifetime of the business, and then how much profit would that generate for the lifetime of the business? And then if someone else went with me first and is it possible you get kicked off page 1 Google search and get relegated to page 2 or page 3, how much would that increase or decrease the probability to get buyers over your business lifetime? How many buyers do you believe you could lose, and how much lifetime profit could you lose? So if you decide to SQ'd methodology is for you, you definitely want it. This is the thing you've been looking for, waiting for. And shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. My DMs are closed right now. Hospital is closed, but when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.